We've seen quite a few changes over the last 3 years here in Clark County. Oh wait, as you can tell, I'm not in Clark County right now, but this conversation is still really important to have. So, what's Clark County doing with the zoning that's turning the tables here in Southwest Washington now that, of course, it's in full swing? And how will it affect our housing for future home buyers? Well, we're going to actually talk about that right now. Clark County has been preparing for the projected increase of people who are relocating into the area. So naturally, they've been introducing zoning changes that make it easier for both property owners and builders alike. The one specifically that I'm going to talk about today hits on one of the zoning changes that just took full effect beginning in 2024. And if you watch this video, it gives much more of a summary and some of the links in the description that will actually provide more details of how the zoning changes, along with the other one, will actually work. So what zoning changes am I talking about? The one that has people actually on both sides of the fence, the one that actually people love while others absolutely hate. It's the ADU zoning change. ADUs have always been allowed, but how they were allowed to be put in is quite different. ADUs were allowed in the past, but with a whole lot of regulations that made it very difficult for people to do them, not to mention all the red tape that was involved. The zoning changes that they've done now are actually shifting and have shifted a lot just over the last few years. For instance, in 2022, Clark County removed the owner-occupancy requirements, letting property owners rent out both their main home and an ADU. And of course, this change offered more options for rental income or, of course, housing flexibility. In 2023, the minimum lot change for the ADU construction was actually lowered to 5,000 square feet, which was a big one, making it accessible to more property owners, as well as the permitting process. It was actually more streamlined, speeding up the project approvals. But in 2024, that's when everything went into full swing. Everything really opened up for homeowners. It's when the setback requirements were reduced, again, as little as 5 feet in certain zones, and of course under specific conditions. Additionally though, placement rules for ADUs were much more relaxed, allowing more freedom in how they were being positioned on the property. But the biggest impact, that change that Clark County did was allowing 2 ADUs per property and also eliminating the 40% size limit. Homeowners can now build ADUs up to 8,000 square feet with some guidelines to that, of course. But overall, this does provide a greater versatility and value for a lot of homeowners. It will allow them to create additional space for their children who become adults and yet can't afford both to rent and go to college, or for others with the other side of the issue, meaning aging parents who cannot afford the cost of independent care living. And of course, all of that financial obligation then falls onto other family members. In these situations, this bill absolutely helps these types of homeowners. But not everybody is looking at it as a positive. For those homeowners that don't have these types of concerns, this zoning change is not making them too happy. In fact, if you look at my YouTube video that I did just last year, that had over 250 comments, that of course weren't all very pretty comments. Some of them weren't even relevant comments, but nonetheless, there was 215 of them. Some of them were actually really valid. People were worried that it would ruin the infrastructure of their community. Also, how will it actually work on how the parking will take place, and what will it do to the utilities? And lastly, some are afraid of the housing values actually decreasing. And while all of these are very, very valid concerns, what I do want to tell you is what I am seeing as a real estate agent out in this industry for those who are taking advantage of this new zoning law change. Most homeowners I've seen do this are actually doing conversions above their garages are in their basements or just extending onto the side of their home. It's not often that you will actually have a separate detached 1,000 square foot ADU being built onto their property. Frankly, because of the cost to build it. Not to mention the setback regulations, even though they're smaller, will not always solve the problem when you're on a postage size lot. And so this issue that we're starting to have is we are experiencing an actual demand on affordability housing. That is the true issue. And Clark County is looking to make ADUs a sought after solution for renters and homeowners alike. But how will this actually help affordability? I don't think that this zoning change will help the affordability of housing at all. The only way that I see that this bill will impact affordability will be for merging families and multi-generational families living together. It will look obviously more affordable to them because they'll be able to bring their incomes together and they'll be able to afford that home ownership while also still allowing individual space and privacy. So that will be a benefit to homeowners that currently live in their homes. And then if those people are actually selling those type of homes, then it will bring those same type of buyers into that type of situation. But as far as affordability, there's only a small sector of buyers that that's actually going to affect. I guess maybe the other benefit will be for those who need to subsidize their income. As I've mentioned before, you're retiring and you need to subsidize. If you had an ADU, that would actually release some of that financial stress. But those are the only things that I can really see on how this zoning change will actually help affordability in Southwest Washington. How do you see the removal of home owner occupancy rules? How do you see the reduced lot size requirements and of course the streamlined construction process that of course does further simplifying the path to ADUs being built? Do you actually see this as a hindrance or as a help for us here in Southwest Washington? Be sure to leave your links below. I'm Shastine, your local Southwest Washington realtor, here to help you make the move into Southwest Washington, keeping you up to date on things that are taking place that will absolutely affect you, whether you're buying or selling, that you will need to know. So I hope you call, text, or email because I'd love to work with you. And until next time, have a great home buying and selling day.